Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock. Let's go over what is happening in the market today after yesterday's emotional day, we'll say, in the market to say the least. And yeah, let's just go over what happened, what we can expect moving into tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow is triple witching day. So in all honesty, my honest opinion is don't even look at tomorrow. Just ignore tomorrow, let tomorrow happen. And then we can start next week again, because it's probably going to be very kind of weird, almost random feeling price action, a lot of options expiring, etc. So in all honesty, tomorrow is just not even worth trading. Just my opinion. Now, with that being said, as usual, let's jump into it. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you do enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts, etc., I do share my thoughts pretty much every single day the market is open, mainly on Tesla stocks, sometimes other stocks, in my YouTube membership section. The link is down below for that. So definitely check it out if you're interested. Just $3 a month, or for $5, you get access to everything I just said, plus NVIDIA daily updates. But jumping into Tesla, closing the day down just almost 1% on the day, closing at $436 per share, which compared to the market is going to be, you can argue actually roughly in line with the market, with QQQ down about half a percentile on the day. So what does this mean moving forward for Tesla stock? Well, there's definitely good news and bad news, right? So let's go over both of those, right? And I would say the good news and the bad news are pretty much like, they both have some pretty strong validity behind them as to what can happen next. It's a tough one here. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit of a tough one here. So let's go over both of them. Let's start off with the bearish side, right? So what are the bearish things about Tesla stock here, right? What are the things to watch out for? What are the things that aren't very all that good? Well, first and foremost, evening star candle. We are printing an evening star bearish reversal candlestick pattern, which is going to be essentially more or less it looks something like this, right? Which is kind of what we're experiencing here, right? You can see these three candles right here that we had yesterday, the day before that, and well, the day before that. Pretty much this, right? It's pretty much this reversal pattern right here. And unfortunately, today we closed red, which, definitely puts in, a case essentially for this bearish triple candle reversal pattern to have, validity behind it essentially, right? That definitely becomes something to watch for essentially moving forward. And that's probably the biggest one to watch out for. Now, if this does play out, I think at the very least, we flush all the way down to about, which honestly, we got pretty close to it today, but pretty much 415 roughly, which again, is that previous all-time high resistance level that we had. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla comes back down and really gives it like a nice thorough retest. But as long as it holds above that, I actually think Tesla still looks pretty good, right? Because not only that, it'll still be within this channel, but we'll get more into that in the bullish side. So that's probably the main thing I would say. If there's one really major thing to watch out for, it's going to be probably that bearish pattern I just mentioned that does risk playing out now because we closed today red. And of course, that 415 support level. And of course, the 430 to 425-ish support level, which we roughly bounced off of today as well. So honestly, 430 to 415, it's a big range, but we're trading pretty volatile right now. So that's probably the most important range for Tesla, right? This general range right here is probably the most important support zone, right? And if we do lose this, and especially 415, I do believe that the bearish thesis will continue. We will break out and down out of this channel. We were, for the first time in a while, closed below the 9 EMA. And I think the bearish thesis starts getting more traction. And that's going to be obviously not ideal. And if, of course, that thesis does get traction and we do break out of this channel to the downside and we do lose 415, I think I'd be pretty surprised if we don't see 360 next. That would be a pretty decent drop. From here, that would be already like a drop of about, 15 to 20%, based on how volatile it obviously ends up being. But if you just play off of that kind of, channel breakdown, stop loss sort of, breakdown risk, if you will, even that would still be another, easily another 10 to 15%. So that's kind of the situation we find ourselves in from that bearish perspective, right? And the stochastic, of course, crossing bearish as well. Those are the bearish takes. That's the bearish perspective. Let's talk about the bullish perspective. Well, the bullish perspective is the fact that we're still holding above the 9 EMA. We are still holding above the 9 EMA. That's a good sign, despite overall weakness we've been seeing recently. Tesla's actually still holding up above it. That's not a bad sign. That is not a bad sign. And on the flip side, it is still holding that 430 to 415 kind of $15 support price range. That's still holding. That's a good sign. And we actually bounced off of it today. That is a good sign. Also, hold on. Before we continue with the bullish thesis, I forgot to mention one more thing from the bearish thesis on the 1 hour chart. So the 1 hour chart has these bands, right? You can see these bands have been performing really well, right? They've been pretty much green ever since this bounce from about $350 per share, and they've been pretty much green the whole ride up. They officially have both turned red today, right? So that's not good. Both of them have officially turned red. That pretty much to me tells me that unless they flip back to green, the bullish momentum it's fading. It's definitely fading, and it's, at the very least slowing down. So I forgot to mention that for the bearish thesis. But going back to that bullish thesis, right? Again, holding above the 9 EMA, great. That $15 support range, we're holding, great. The channel, the rising channel, it's a pretty steep rising channel. Don't forget, at some point it will break. But as it stands right now, we're holding. We're not breaking below this channel. So as long as Tesla technically remains in this channel, there's no reason to be actually overall bearish on Tesla, because as long as it's here, well, it's a rising channel. And what does a stock do in a rising channel? It rises. It continues rising. It will continue rising in this rising channel until essentially proven otherwise. And so far, we have not been proven otherwise. Now, there is a risk for that to be proven otherwise based on the patterns and some certain formations we're seeing that I just mentioned. There is definitely now a risk of this potentially falling apart. But again, all it is for now is a risk. Until we get actual confirmation of it truly breaking down, there's no reason to assume it's going to break down, at least as of right now, until it, of course, happens. But again, this should start making you, give that possibility more percentile of happening, in my opinion, of course. So assuming this pattern holds, and assuming this pattern doesn't break apart, and assuming we hold within this channel, you can easily make the argument that Tesla can make its way back up, late this year, early next year, into the low 500s, honestly, right? That definitely becomes an actual, an unironic target, right? That becomes something that we can actually talk about, right? So that's probably the main things I'll be looking out for Tesla moving forward. Now, again, one thing I want to mention, if we do play out the bearish thesis and we do move back down to this, 360-ish, 350s, probably around 360-ish support range, which obviously was a massive resistance range here. I'll come back to retest it. That is essentially where the market bias is. So you can see the market bias is sitting pretty much right around that level as it's slowly kind of, eking its way up. And that will pretty much act as another support. So that 360-ish range, in my opinion, should act as a pretty powerful support if we do get there and if we do lose 415 roughly. So watch for that moving forward, right? Tomorrow, again, like I said, triple witching day. It's really not even worth paying attention to unless we get these breakdowns, of course. I'm probably not going to be looking at the markets too much tomorrow because there's probably going to be a lot of just very kind of weird, sort of just unhealthy type price action that it's just asking to get chopped up, and it's just not something I want to do, especially after yesterday. And I'm not gonna lie, they get chopped up yesterday a little bit, but I expect tomorrow to be something of the sort. So yeah, just keep that in mind moving forward, ladies and gentlemen. Now taking a look at options flow really quickly on Tesla stock, of course. Wow, nice 6.7 million call came in, but it is a 2027, so it is a pretty decent leap. So we're not gonna put too much thought into that because it's a leap. We don't really care about leaps. That's not gonna move the stock, or really, it's not gonna give us any real indication short to medium term, in my opinion. So let's take a look at other things, right? We have 1220, a lot of calls coming in for 1220, which is for tomorrow. You can see here, a few of them over here, a few $100,000. So let's see how those play out for the bulls tomorrow. But the bulls are still buying early next year calls as well, it seems like, over here as well. So the bulls don't seem to be fully done with the stock, despite some bearishness definitely coming in. The bulls are still stepping in pretty aggressively, I would argue, pretty aggressively. They don't think the stock is done here just yet. So let's see if they're right or not moving forward. 40 million confirmed bullish flow on Tesla today as well, which is a nice sight to see. And I mean, yeah, it really just comes down to this channel. Can we continue holding this rising channel, or can we not? That is the question. And if we do get a bounce, and if we do actually make our way back up, at least very, very short term, my main short term target as a potential actual resistance zone is going to continue being this level right here, right? About $460 per share. So yeah, that's probably the main thing I'm looking at right now. You can definitely make an argument that we are setting up a little bit of an inverted head and shoulders here potentially. So watch for that. If that plays out, we can potentially look for $460. Honestly, it could be even as early as tomorrow or early next week. That definitely becomes a potential pattern to watch for as well. So a lot of mixed signals here. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of mixed signals here, a lot of bearish and bullish signals alike. It's a difficult market right now. This is, this price action is very, very choppy, very messy, not super clean in my opinion. So, make sure you're being careful with what you're doing. And yeah, that's all I got for you. So let me know what you think down below. Ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.